Ben Siyambango from the River Races, the movement for the survival of the River Races of Zambesia. Ben, are you on? Can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Oh, hi. It is wonderful to have you. Just to do a quick introduction, the River Races of Zambesia, as I sort of said at the beginning, are people who are living south of the Zambesi River in southern Africa. Ben is joining us from Namibia, but they are like many of our members in that they have people located across international boundaries and are a very diverse group of people with good kinship ties to other members from our organization, such as the Barotse people. We're really delighted to have them joining the UNPO. So over to you, Ben. I'm very sorry we are running short on time, so if I can keep you to like 10 minutes, it would be really good.
Thank you. I wish to greet the presidents, the leadership of UNPO, and all the members of UNPO throughout the world. I want to thank UNPO for allowing me to speak on behalf of the indigenous people now living between north of the Kalahari Desert and the south of the Zambesi River. We are a diverse community who, by history, we have been moved by many, many people. The first one being the Barotse kings, followed by the Kololos from the south, who were named the Makololo Kingdom. Around the 1830s, later, these were again, the Barotse defeated the Makololos and re-established their glory again in 1864. From 1864 up to 1885, we were under the Makololo, the Barotse Kingdom, until Great Britain had declared what we call a sphere of influence over a country north of the former north of the Botswana Protectorate and south of the Zambesi River. This country was the country that played host to the famous missionary and explorer, Dr. David Livingstone, in his quest in trying to stop the slave trade in South and Central Africa. This country played a major role in that the kings of Zambesia, the former king of Zambesia, the Kololo, in fact, let's say he came from the Lesotho, but because of the war in the south, he was forced to cross the Kalahari Desert and the land in a place now called Capri District. And after that, he invited Dr. David Livingstone to come and pay him a visit because he knew Dr. David Livingstone's friendship with a man called the late Moffat, Reverend Moffat, who was good friend with the king of the Matabele's called Umzilikali and his son. So he wanted to have peace with Umzilikali because Umzilikali was actually part of the Zulus that had moved from Zululand because of Shaka War to now called Zimbabwe. And this man was actually in charge of that part of the country. So we have been under the rule of the Lords, under the rule of the English, under the rule of the first, the Lords, second, the Makololos, third, the English. In fact, the English even named their El Dorado. You can see from that picture that I'm holding. It says Zambesia, England, El Dorado, Africa. In other words, it was their speciality as far as territories were concerned in Southern Africa. However, we have been very fortunate that we are the only country maybe in Africa. Ethiopia or Abyssinia was colonized Britain by the Italians. We cannot talk about Liberia because that was the land that the Americans had set for people who wanted to come back to Africa. But we have got on record that we've never been colonized by any African, no, any European power, because the British had placed on us a sphere of influence. A sphere of influence is nothing but a policy other colonizers from what it was. Although later it was misunderstood by people to think that the other protectorates, being former German protectorate of Southwest Africa, which is supposed to be Namibia, and the former British protectorate of Botswana, which is supposed to be Botswana. Those countries' boundaries were actually agreed upon at the Berlin Conference of 1884-1885. German protectorate was under the tutelage of Imperial Germany, while Botswana protectorate was under the British. We too were brought in as part of the British Empire, but we were not a colony, neither were we a protectorate. We were a sphere of influence. Now, after some length of period that has passed, okay, we had this First World War. The First World War, it never changed our status. We know that the mandate came in Southwest Africa. But now, Zambesia is fragmented in between three countries. One, former Botswana protectorate. Two, German protectorate of Southwest Africa. Three, former North Asia. So we are in between those countries. But we know for sure that our country has never been colonized by any European power. Although now we find ourselves in a situation where our country is fragmented between these three countries who are occupying part of our border. Our borderland. What is of great concern to us is that following the new independent states of Botswana, Namibia, and Zambia, new post-colonial boundaries have been established within the territory of Zambesia in order to justify that the country was colonized by the former colonizers. It's our genuine expectation that once the British sphere of influence had been terminated or withdrawn, the country was supposed to be handed over to the indigenous people who are the River Races. The country has remained relatively underdeveloped under these circumstances to an extent that we do not have parliament, we do not have a Supreme Court, we do not have a High Court, we do not have even a single railway line track that's moving within that country. We do not have even higher institutions of learning, because right now we are fragmented within these three countries, despite the fact that we have got two British orders council that were issued in our favor. The first one being the Lewanika British Order in Council of the 27th of June 1890. The second one being the British Order in Council of 30th June 1890. But emphasis have been placed so much on the so-called Anglo-German Treaty of July 1890, This treaty apparently had nothing to do with the boundary setting in Southern Africa. It was meant to give the former German protectorate of Southwest Africa a trade route to the Zambesi River, because fellow members might know Germany had two protectorates in the Southern Hemisphere. One being the East African, the German East African territory, which is now part of the Republic of Tanzania. It was called Tanganyika. And then the German protectorate of Southwest Africa, which is on the west coast of the Atlantic Ocean. So this treaty had established a route. That route, the name of that route was called, although the British called it the additional strip of Southwest Africa. Our people have been very peaceful throughout. So that treaty has now been interpreted to mean that these two protectorates were extended. They were never extended. Because in fact, in August 1886, when Lord Salisbury became Prime Minister for the second time, he declined to extend the former Botswana protectorate. And therefore, we are very surprised to hear that even the former German protectorate of Southwest Africa is now claiming the Caprivi Strait, which was actually under English tutelage because of the sphere of influence. There's not a single law that has been passed in the British Parliament to extend either the former Botswana protectorate or the former German protectorate of Southwest Africa, following the defeat of Imperial Germany in the First World War. Regrettably, the states of Botswana and Namibia have crafted a common boundary on the Chobe River, which is in the middle of the Zambesia, known as the Anglo-German Treaty, the Heligoland Zanzibar Treaty. The only land swap that happened between Germany and England was that island which is sitting in the North Sea island of Scotland. It is called the Heligoland Zanzibar. There was an exchange between the Heligoland and the Zanzibar, which the Queen of England wanted. And there was no land swap in Southern Africa. Zambesia, it's pretty obvious for us to have sought membership to this important international organization. We regard it as an honor and great privilege to be a member of UNPO for the following reasons. The identity of our country remains obscure as a result of neighboring states that have encroached on Zambesian borderlands. Our culture and tradition, as well as our dialects, are slowly being wiped off from the face of the earth. The protection of our fundamental human rights is of great importance to us. We feel that with the current political dispensation that exists now in Southern Africa, we lack the opportunity to participate on the national and the international stage. Furthermore, we feel that we are denied equal representation on the web, and for this, we want to thank UNPO to have come up with such a vision so that people like us can have a voice on the international market, on the international stage. We need to be a member of an international organization that will empower our voices, for we are marginalized and unrepresented. As we speak now, Some of our people are languishing in jail, in Namibia jails, for offenses related to treason. How can we be charged for offenses related to treason when we have our own territory? The word treason is foreign to us. We know it having been used in the American Civil War in 1860. But our people right now, if we are talking, they are imprisoned for treasonable offenses. We know that what we are encouraged by what is written in the Bible. We are inspired, as in Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verses 15, which reads, whatever is has already been, and what will be has been before, and God will call the past to account. Zambesia has been there before, and it should be here today. If not, God will call the past to account. What is important to know is that it's not a question of the size of the state, it's a question of the people living in that area, whether they want to be part of that system or not. And therefore, unfortunately, I didn't prepare a long speech. I thought it's only 3 minutes. So, Comrade Secretary General, thank you very much to UNPO. Thank you, everybody. And thank you to all that have listened to me. It's a privilege. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben, and thank you for those really kind words about the UNPO and how you and your people fit within our organization. We are truly proud to have you as members. Now I'm going to hand over for our